Goals bought, time spent, I can't buy your 2 cents, and my heart beating, barely breathing. I'm wasting time, time keeping, sitting down, screaming, fighting off my demons. I'm trying to get a grip, I'm trying to find the meanings, searching for my soul, climbing out.
That was senior Joushua Bailey, aka JahPhnx, performing his track Time Zones, which is about a teen's struggle to understand his purpose in life. I'm Southerner writer, photographer, and producer Anna Tischer, a senior at Grady, and welcome to the third installment of the Southerner podcast, returning for a second semester. We have a great feature in this episode. I'll be interviewing JahPhnx today, reflecting upon the profile written by Nexus writer Catherine Esterl. Then we have our main discussion hosted by junior in training, Anna Tischer, discussing a number of topics regarding feminine and alike issues to a group of guys and gals. We are a new project and are always looking for Grady students to join in on the discussion or help produce. If you have any sort of interest whatsoever, please email GradySouthernerPodcast@gmail.com. It will also be in the description below, including the articles mentioned. This is an outlet for Grady students to express their minds and whatnot. We will now be publishing every 2.5 weeks. Let's get right into it. Okay, so hello and welcome to the first segment of our podcast. I'm here with senior Joushua Bailey about discussing his, would you call it a career?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. I would call it a career, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe a passion?
A lifestyle.
A lifestyle,
yeah.
All right. Well, and I'm Nafis Zoe, and let's just get right into it. So, can you tell us exactly what you do?
I guess I call myself an artist. I won't say I guess. I am an artist.
Mm-hmm.
I make music.
Yeah.
I rap specifically. And as I was just saying, it's kind of ironic because as I'm getting older, I'm starting to listen to less rap. But I am a rapper, and I make rap music. And I'm trying my best to venture into other types of music also, but I can't sing, so that's kind of restricting in a lot of ways. But yeah, I'm an artist.
Yeah, cool. So how does this all start in the first place? Because it's not like, I don't think it'd be that easy just to start a career sort of, or like what you're doing, especially as on a high school level. Like,
Yeah.
Is this really crazy?
Yeah.
How did it start?
Well, I've written poetry my entire life. Like I've always written poetry, and I wasn't like hiding it or nothing, but I never really told anybody that I wrote poetry or anything like that. And my dad, he found some of my things that I was writing. And he was like, yeah, I used to write as a kid, but he wasn't able to ever get into the position to where he could actually record music and, start out as an artist. So he wanted to try and help me with my career to get to start up my career. So he helped me a lot, like getting connections and stuff like that. Well, not getting connections, but he helped me with the money wise, because being a rapper is extremely expensive, to be quite honest.
Oh, wow.
Multiple shows. Yeah. I performed with a band before. That's like my favorite thing to do. I love that.
What band?
It's a band called the Band of Brothers. They actually performed on Jimmy Fallon's show with.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they're very good. I'll show you the video or send you the link to it.
So you started with poetry.
Yeah.
You still write?
It's crazy. I don't really write as much as I used to.
Oh, why is that?
I have no idea. I'm not sure, honestly. Like I kind of wish I knew, but it just happened. Like I used to write all the time. Like I'd be walking around and get inspiration from something, and then just, I don't know, like just write, get inspiration from everywhere. And I still do, but just not for writing.
Yeah.
Just for other stuff.
Well, when was the last time you did?
Not just spontaneously, but if I go into the studio and I hear a beat, I'll write a song to it or something like that. But just like not spontaneous, like get an idea. But I've written poetry from like the Black History Month, something like that.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I did that, I think, 10th and 11th grade.
Are you going to be performing this year as well?
I'm not, yeah.
Oh, why not?
You really want to? I totally appreciate Ms. Ramey for putting the program together. I think it's great. I think she had awesome intentions, but like I kind of feel like when I was performing and when I heard the other people's performances, it was doing exactly what it wasn't supposed to do. Like it was putting down the Caucasian race and being like, like I understand that we endured a lot, but at the same time, I think you're just as bad as the racist if you're gonna put another race down, and I couldn't respect that.
Anyone who knows you, I think, the first thing that they notice is your fashion sense.
Yeah.
You are extremely fashionable, extremely. So,
Thank you.
where does that derive from?
Everything. I don't know. Like Andy Warhol said, and I know this is like kind of just random, but Andy Warhol said, "I wish people fell in love with their eyes closed" or something like that. But it's just not true. Once we see somebody that's, I don't know, that looks good or something like that or dressed good, we automatically have an opinion of them because like we see with our eyes, and I know it's like exactly, like we judge off of that. And I mean, just me being a human being and growing up and like seeing how certain people dress and like how like today my outfit is inspired by Jimi Hendrix. Like I really appreciate his music and just I kind of feel like he did a lot for the culture. Some people would disagree, but I feel like he did a lot on Earth, period.
Yeah,
and
I totally agree.
Yeah, I like the way he dressed, and I like the way other people dress, and it's just like if you like it, then why not do it? Like a lot of people are scared to do what they like or be themselves. Like
So you do it for yourself because you like doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I do it for myself, and I think that's where a lot of people mess up. Like they do it for other people, or you know what I'm saying. Like even if you're dressing down, like you're doing it for yourself. Like I like your outfit because you came out the house and you did it for you. Like you were like I want to wear this, so I'm going to wear it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. And you also wear a lot of like interesting outfits too that just don't match.
Yeah.
But, like and then still somehow looks good.
Yeah.
Like that's just I admire that completely.
Yeah, I agree.
But on another note as well, speaking of your inspirations, besides possibly Andy Warhol, who else in history has inspired you to possibly help you do what you do, and also possibly like how you live your life?
I would say I mentioned Jimi Hendrix. He's a big one.
Definitely.
I'll say he's very overused, but I'll say Tupac just because like that's just everything that he stood for.
He's a staple.
Yeah,
definitely.
He is. So I will say that. Musically, I love Amy Winehouse music. How she put her soul and herself in the music, and it's this word. It's Marikai. That's what it is. And it's it means to put your soul into something, and I really respect her for doing that. So like that kind of inspires me. I can name a lot of people.
Definitely.
A lot of people.
Well, I mean, those were the first to come to mind.
Yeah, Lil Wayne too. And Salvador Dali. I love
yes. Yeah. What specifically about Dali inspires you?
I kind of just feel like for what he did, like at his time point was different. Like just being in Mr. Brandhurst's class and listening to the way he moved, like I really grew a higher appreciation for him recently.
Yeah.
Just like listening to how he moved, like how he went to parties, how it's just everything. Like he was a big production, and his artwork is awesome. How he was, the things that he was obsessed with, and other people like weren't really on back then, like the dream world and how much it connects to our real world. Just a lot.
Definitely. I want to go into, since we're talking about girl talk in our main podcast segment, how do you feel about the sort of sexist, some would call it, lyrics that sort of objectify women occasionally, especially in the hip hop and rap culture? As a rapper, how do you view it?
First of all, I just want to say like I'll never know how it feels to be a female, so I wouldn't understand. But at the same time, from a human's perspective, I think we all should be as respectful as we can to each other. But at the same time, on top of that, I don't really think when rappers use that word, it's intentionally trying to be disrespectful to certain people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that they really have that in mind. Like, when I was younger, I used to get so upset or so irritated when people used to smack at the table, like when we're eating or something like that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And as I've gotten older, I've learned to not let that affect me as much as it did when I was younger, because people you can only get upset by things that you give power and energy to, and I've learned over the years to not give my power and energy towards certain things that don't deserve it.
Definitely.
So
what's the future for JahPhnx?
Just getting better and better as a human being, getting better and better musically. Everything I do, I just want to be better, because you know what I'm saying, like, we're not perfect, so there's always room for improvement.
And finally, if you were to give advice to someone just living their life, or possibly someone who wants to get into the rap game, what advice would you give them?
Be yourself. I know it's like cheesy, but I've been close enough to the rap game, or just close enough to a lot of people, to see that certain people that we idolize and are extremely famous and this and that and this and that, like, if you know them or you like are close to them, like, they're like, a lot of people aren't even happy with themselves because they know what they had to do to get to that position, or they just feel like they're living a lie entirely.
Yeah.
So I feel like the only way you can be comfortable and happy is if you just be yourself.
All right. Makes sense. Well, that's all the questions I have for you. Thank you so much for joining us, Joushua Bailey.
Hi, I'm Anna Tischer. I'm a writer on the Southerner staff, and we will be talking about Girl Talk. So I'm with a few other people. Please introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name is Ogechi Ugu. I'm a writer and an assistant photographer for the Southerner.
I'm Katie Wood. I am a writer for the Southerner.
I'm Charlotte Spears. I'm an editor for the Nexus and a writer for the Southerner.
Okay, and today we will be talking about an article that was published in issue 4 called Girl Talk. Charlotte was the writer for this article. Would you please talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, so I wrote 2 of the 3 articles that are in it. I wrote about a sophomore named Bradley who fixed the bathrooms because they weren't getting fixed, and then also about 2 elementary school girls who were protesting dress code that they thought was sexist.
Okay, so I think we can start a discussion with dress code. How do you guys feel about the dress code and how a few of the things that we're not allowed to wear are called distracting?
Well, for me personally, I've always fought the dress code. I think it's completely unfair for women. Saying that like a spaghetti strap is distracting to anyone in the classroom is a complete joke, in my opinion. I remember when I was in 9th grade, I wore shorts one day, and I never went to Inman or anything, so I didn't know anyone at Grady. I wore shorts. They were the right length and everything. They checked out, and I was stopped by Dr. Howard or Mr. Howard, I believe, and he told me, he brought me in the office. He called my mom. He said I need to be picked up for school because I was dressed completely inappropriate. So once my mom got there, he actually told her, the way your daughter dresses fine, she meets the requirements of the length and everything, it's just her body shape. That's the problem. So she can't wear that. So let's say someone else with a different body type wore that same outfit, she would be completely fine. And ever since that day, I've just thought that was completely ridiculous and very rude and crass. I was always angered by that. So ever since then, I've always worn crazy outfits that said whatever I wanted them on and anything like it. And I'm really glad that we've been able throughout the years to progress and fight the dress code, and it's gotten more lenient, but I still think there needs to be improvements.
Okay, what do you think about it, Katie?
Personally, when it's warm outside, I like to wear shorts every day, and I've gotten in trouble a few times this year for wearing shorts that aren't even inappropriate, and it's just really inconvenient to not be able to wear what I want to when it's not inappropriate in any way.
Okay, I was in a similar situation recently when I came into school a little bit late, so I had to go into the discipline office to get a pass to class. And I was wearing leggings and a semi-long t-shirt. And then they proceeded to ask me if I had any more clothing in my car, which I said yes, because I didn't want them to call my parents. So when I went into my car, which is all the way in the dirt lot, I got locked out, and so I had to wait a really long time just to get back into the building. And I found a long t-shirt that's my brother's. So when I came back to the discipline office, they had me put it on, so I went and changed and put it back on. And by the time that they finally gave me a pass to class, I had missed completely first period and half a second period.
That story like makes me so frustrated because I think the whole point of this is to they want us to have a lot of class time, and for some reason that they think these shirts are distracting or our clothing is distracting and limiting class time. But if you missed all of first period and half of second period, that's limiting class time. So it's kind of counterproductive.
Yes, I believe it's taking even more away from what we should be learning. So what was your other article on in the Southerner?
It's about a sophomore named Bradley Colburn Stenger, and she was in theater one day and she got a drill and noticed that a lot of the girls' bathrooms around the school don't close all the way, meaning we have to hold it with our feet or have a friend hold it. So she went around and fixed all the locks, starting with these ones in the music hall right here. And that was just kind of a big deal because she was standing up for something that she believed in, something that in our society it's really hard for women to do without being criticized or having enough confidence to do it.
Yes, and something that I'd like to touch on with that is how in a lot of our bathrooms they have dispensers for tampons and other period supplies, and an issue is they don't have anything filled in them. And I think that can be an issue when girls are not 100% sure when their period starts. So what do you guys think about this?
I think that it's really great. I think there's a program that actually took it upon themselves to put in tampons inside the girls' bathroom. I know the nurse, she's not allowed to give out tampons anymore. She said that there is now a rule that we're not allowed to solicit things that people can put inside their bodies.
Why is that?
That's what I don't understand. So I guess there's maybe for prescription pills or, if you have a headache, they can't subscribe you aspirin. But if I'm on my period at school and it's distracting me from learning something and I need something, I can't just leak the entire day. Mm-hmm. And you're not allowed to provide for me in a safe way or safe environment so I won't feel embarrassed or, outcast like that. It's completely ridiculous. I thought it was really strange.
What do you think about how it can be sort of awkward to have to carry around tampons and supplies and how they're not always supplied in the bathroom?
I think it would be really nice if there were tampons and stuff in the bathrooms because sometimes I'll forget in the morning to put them in my bag or you could run out during the day or it could fall out of your bag and that's kind of embarrassing. And it's kind of weird when guys see it, so it's just better to have it in there.
Okay, and another article from our Southerner paper is about how it can be quite awkward talking with other boys and other people about being on your period and supplies and stuff. Do you find that it can be a sort of a touchy spot to talk about with other people, if they ask you where you're going and stuff like that?
I used to be very shy about that. If I had to go to the bathroom and the teacher said either you already left or it's the beginning of class, what's going on, I never really wanted to announce that, I'm on my period. But now I don't really care. I don't think the problem is that they don't want to get embarrassed by the guys in our class. I've had to go to the nurse just to get pads for my friend because there's a boy in there. He sprained his arm. She's I don't want him seeing me go and get a pad or something. So I guess it's the way that it's kind of shamed upon in society that makes us very uncomfortable to talk about it. I don't think it should be something that should be hidden away or there have been instances where I've had to go to different classrooms all around the school just to find somebody that had a tampon or somebody that had a panty liner or something either for me or a friend.
That happens actually a lot between me and my friends. We have group chats and so often do girls hey, meet me in the bathroom. I really need something. And I just feel that kind of secrecy, it shouldn't be
frowned upon.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, another big thing is a lot of classes give you a certain number of bathroom passes at the beginning of the semester. And a lot of the time they'll be, if you don't use them, they'll count as extra points on your final grade. And a lot of students don't want to have to use those passes because they want the extra points, but they need to go to the bathroom because they're on their period. So it's inconvenient that they make it that way and not give an exception for girls when they're on their period.
Right. So one other thing that I would like to touch on is in the future, if anyone's looking for a job in the engineering pathway or anything like that, how they feel that it will be if they're a girl and they're pursuing that kind of career path, or if maybe if you're in the engineering classroom, generally it looks like there are more boys than girls in the class.
Male-dominated careers. How do you guys feel about it?
I definitely think we're taking a step in the right direction. I know Chandler Moore, she's a senior. She's also on the Southerner. She's started our 500 Women Scientists group that I've been meeting with, and she always has key speakers coming in talking about their difficulties in like a male-dominated area, or how like they persevere through like trials or like tribulations, or just like being discriminated against. I think there's a lot of tough women out there. I think it needs to be brought into light, especially focusing on like the freshmen and sophomores that are coming in, how like we can open up doors to them, how they can feel that they can, they can excel in AP Bio, or they can, be great at engineering. They don't need to dumb themselves down or anything like that. They can pursue their dreams, I guess.
I think another field that's also male-dominated is politics. I think that the government is, majority is, white men, and they're the people making the rules for everybody in our world, in our country right now. And so when that is happening, there are certain people who I feel are kind of fall through the cracks, which are like minorities, women. These decisions are being made, but I don't think that the people who are making the decisions accurately represent our population. So I think it's really important that we have these girls and we have these issues of the Southerner that can speak out to those people. But I think another hardship actually is that when these women are doing what they can to get noticed in a world that's dominated by men, is they're criticized for standing up, and they're talked down upon, too aggressive, too violent, too forward thinking, and I think that's just a really hard thing to try to balance and avoid.
Well, I have an older brother that was on the Southerner staff last year, and he goes to Georgia Tech. And his name's Anna Tischer, and he was an editor. And I know for the past years, the population of girls at Georgia Tech was way less than the amount of boys that are attending Georgia Tech. But starting my older brother's year, there's starting to be a closer amount of boys to girls, and they're predicting that there may even be more girls in the years to follow.
That's exciting.
Hi, I'm Eric Slewin.
It's fine, just go.
Now with us, we have two Grady high schoolers, boys, that have just joined. Please introduce yourselves.
My name's Eric Slavinsky.
And my name's Flynn Kelly, and I'm a senior, and I write for the Southerner.
And I'm a junior.
So we will be talking about Girl Talk today, specifically the stuff that was in the article in issue 4. One thing that happens at Grady is we believe that girls are not as equally represented as the boys are. So one example is the Viking Club, which is predominantly male. Can you explain?
Yeah, actually, I think I can explain that. So I happen to be a member of the Viking Club, and I don't think that we're intending for it to be predominantly male. In fact, I think we've actually had issues recruiting females to join the Viking Club. And so while we want females to join, I don't know, maybe it's some type of atmosphere, but they're just not joining. It's not our fault. We're open to allowing girls.
Yeah. We actually do have a female member, Gabby Pius, who's on the Southerner staff. She's actually a member of Viking Club, so yeah.
What ways have you stepped towards to inviting more girls? Have you made that public? Have you just asked some of your friends? What have you done?
We don't really invite members. They just ask us, and we haven't really done much lately, so there's not really been any need for new members. We haven't had a feast in the last couple months, but next time we do have a feast, we will be open to more members joining.
Yes, can you explain a little bit about what you guys do at Viking Club?
Yeah, Eric, you want to?
Sure thing. So of course we talk about like the Nordic gods, right? We feast. We have feasts. It's really kind of like a learning experience where you learn about the Vikings. We learned on Leif Erikson Day about Leif Erikson, the first person to discover America before Christopher Columbus.
Yeah, so the club basically was started because the Vikings discovered America, not Christopher Columbus, and so that's what history books say. So we just are trying to promote not like Viking culture because it's like overshadowed by the Spanish, and they were bad people. Like they basically like enslaved the Native Americans while the Vikings like promoted trade. And so we're just trying to promote that the true founders of America were the Vikings, but history doesn't reflect that.
Well, weren't Vikings very violent, and they destroyed a lot of towns and communities?
And pillaged.
Yes.
Well, that's actually partially a misconception. We actually see that the Vikings treated the Native Americans much better than the Spanish colonists did. Like we didn't have any of the outbreaks of disease from the Vikings, and we didn't have it very many, like they didn't enslave the Native Americans or anything like that, which the Spanish did. So
Yeah, the Vikings only attacked when they were attacked. They weren't just like violent people like the Spanish.
it's really more of a self-defense organization.
Are there any female-only, girls-only clubs here at Grady?
Yeah.
Can you name one?
Women in transportation.
Can you tell us a little bit about women in transportation?
Oh, and isn't Muslim something?
That's
Student
not all
association?
female. It's just that it happens to be dominated mostly by females.
That's
Okay.
kind of
Like Viking Club.
That's what the Viking Club is, but the opposite.
Yeah, but tell us about girls in transportation.
Yeah.
That's
So
strictly
Okay.
only for girls.
Yeah. Okay. So Women in Transportation is run by Miss Vincent, and it is a club for girls to promote women in STEM fields. So they have speakers come who are different parts of like engineering around Atlanta, different organizations like that, and they come and speak to the girls, and they offer a scholarship to STEM.
Another program that's exactly like it is 500 Women Scientists. But our last meeting, we actually did have one boy attend. He was a little skittish because he was the only boy. But what we've learned in those meetings, we have brought that up, that, you know, there's predominantly like a female crowd, that even if you're like in college, they have like women's studies. There are still like men that take those courses. However, they're not going to be the ones that are like harassing you about it. They're not. I think in the past she was saying something about how men would take those classes just to like harass women, like, oh, these are like ridiculous, or you just need like to prove your point. But it's more from like an informative or an enlightened point of view, which I think is really amazing, and that's nice. Oh no, not the breathing.
Do you guys have anything to say about that?
You want to?
It's fine.
I mean, I haven't been invited to any of these clubs that are all girls.
And but like you said, that what was problematic was the Viking Club is a primarily boys-only club. Now, why is it an issue if there's a boys-only club if there's already girls-only clubs?
I don't think the issue was that it was considered only males, but I think I remember asking a few of my classmates that are in Viking Club, saying like, "Oh, I'm going to join Viking Club," and they were like, "No, it's all boys."
We don't condone that behavior. Whoever said that, they very likely may have been kicked out of the club. We certainly that's not our official stance on who's allowed to join. So you were misinformed by whoever said that.
Who is the like head or the leader of the Viking Club?
Me. Yeah. What do you want me to say? Like.
So Flynn, you're the leader?
Yeah. So like, we don't really like. If you check our Instagram and our Facebook page, we don't really have like, that's not our motto. It's not like rape and pillage or like no women can join like some people say. We actually like in our bio we promote Viking cultural, like promoting it from like at the bottom. Like no one cares really about it, and we're just trying to make people care about it because it's really important to who we are as Americans.
And also, we're trying to do community service. You know, just help out the local community.
Yeah. Is there any other issues you want to talk about, Anna?
Volleyball.
What about volleyball?
What about volleyball?
There's a boys-only volleyball club. It's not necessarily a team, it's clubs. That's sexist.
Okay.
We agree. Yes.
But there's a girls-only club for like
It's not-
girls in transportation.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a girls volleyball team.
But women are suppressed.
True.
Okay. So do you actually feel suppressed by the boys?
By the boys
No.
volleyball club.
So how do you think the other girls would be possibly suppressed by the boys volleyball team?
I was kidding.
Oh,
That was such a funny joke, Katie.
Hilarious.
I'm just curious.
Are you gonna cut this one out?
No, probably not.
He's not gonna cut any of it.
I mean, I'm gonna cut some of it, and now I'm gonna.
What do
cut
you guys
this
think
part.
about the dress code?
Dress code.
It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy to follow. Like I've never had an issue with it. I've never had an issue with the dress code. I just pretty much wear the same thing every day. A shirt, either shorts or pants or sweatpants. Chacos, yeah, those aren't illegal. I don't really think the dress code is necessarily sexist. I do believe that it probably affects girls more because there's more fashion girls can purchase, and there's different options. Guys, we don't dress up normally. We all pretty much I don't know, we're wearing very similar things right now. No, yeah.
I don't know. He's just pointing to
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not saying you guys don't, but I'm saying there's
Honestly,
there's more, yeah,
if we
there's
went
more
into the
variety.
office
Yeah.
right now, they would probably dress code us both.
Yeah, for sure. I would get dress coded.
What would be dress code?
Because it should be to my knees, probably.
Yeah.
So are you breaking the rules right now?
Yeah, I am.
And you're okay with that?
Suspended?
Yeah, I probably should be
What's
suspended.
your opinion on how they have to be over to the knees? Wait, over the knees or on the?
I think it's supposed to be
They don't like it.
it's
They
like,
wanna see
isn't
that.
it yeah.
Okay,
I
so
don't-
how do you feel about that?
I don't really care. It doesn't really matter to me what girls wear.
I mean, my shorts are above my knees.
Yeah.
So why do you think that it's not okay for girls to do that, but it's okay for boys?
I don't think it's not okay.
I mean, in terms of the policy, why do you think?
I'm not sure. You'd have to ask them.
Definitely. But do you think it maybe they're sexualizing them possibly?
I don't know. I mean,
Completely. I agree with
it
that.
doesn't because then they'd be there's not a rule for guys. I don't really know why, but I just think no guy's ever worn anything like that.
No guys wear leggings
Yeah,
to school.
so there's not a reason for it to be a rule for guys.
I mean, I think there's a rule that we can't wear muscle tees.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, I
girls
think that's
can't wear
right,
tank
yeah.
tops either.
Okay, and also also crazy thing pajama day or something like that. Last year, I remember a senior just came in his boxers, only his boxers. I was in the UP psychology class and I was I think the senior was Zion or something like that. He was just
It would
really
be Zion,
fashionable.
yeah.
He just came in with these fashionable pajamas in class with his not pajamas boxers, and just he's just there. And he wasn't dress coded. Nothing happened to him. So it's he can just walk in with his boxers. And it's
Did he have a shirt on?
It was showing. I think it was very, very a lot of stuff showing.
His nipples were out.
I recall a time when I got called out by a teacher because I had this same Grinch shirt on. I wear every single time. It's a T-shirt. There's nothing wrong with it. But occasionally it gets cold, and there was a huge bulge coming from the nipple area, and the teacher said you need to cover that up. So I had to wear my. That's why I always wear a button up with the T-shirt. Because I can cover up the nipple area, because a teacher pointed that out once.
Who?
I'd rather not say.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Off the record.
That happens to me all the time at volleyball.
I have something to say.
Okay. Hold on.
During the cross country season, usually it gets really hot because it's still summer then. So a lot of the boys just take off their shirts and go running around, getting some miles. And then when us girls decide maybe we want to take our shirts off, it gets awkward because yes, we are wearing sports bras underneath, but it's part of something that is not usually, if you're running around, you usually see girls wearing shirts or tank tops or something. So I feel like it's awkward if we decide to take off our shirts when looking at the boys.
Also, at cross country, sometimes it's easier to run if you're wearing these short shorts for guys. And so I feel like sometimes people would make fun of you if you did that. Mm-hmm. But the girls are allowed to wear the short shorts, but the guys aren't. So
I gotta say it's true. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But not necessarily in all sports. I'm still a cheerleader, I guess, but I used to cheer at Grady, and we've gone through many cheer coaches at Grady. They would allow us to take off our shirts if we're running around the track. We have to run a mile under 8 minutes or something. But also in practice, we're not allowed to wear like short shorts, which is really strange because it actually comes with our uniform, like the Spanx. We're not allowed to wear this in practice. We're not allowed to wear tank tops or anything anymore. Why? And just think, I don't know. I'm not, like, I have no idea. And it's like, it used to be a co-ed team, but it's all girls now. And we're still, like, we still have these rules or we're reprimanded. And it's really strange. I don't understand why we do that.
So have all of you been dress coded before?
Yeah.
I have.
I've never been.
Never.
I've been dress coded once for a cross-dress day.
For your nipples?
No, well, kinda. Like, I was showing everything because I dressed up as a Georgia Tech cheerleader.
Oh my
I
God.
had an outfit.
Do you have a picture of that?
No, I mean, yeah.
Can I see
I think
that?
Aaron probably has a picture of it.
So, like, I had to wear these, like, really ugly, I gotta wear these really ugly pajamas, colorful pajamas that weren't mine, like, over, like, the little skirt I had. Cause, I mean, like, I don't blame them. Some of my, like, you can almost see my cheeks. But, and also, like, it was a very, very thin, like, it was, like, a small, extra small, like, muscle, like, tank top, thing for, like a cheerleader and whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, that just happened. But, like, yeah, it's crazy. Hi, guys. So, all of you have actually been dress coded.
And the one time a boy in here was dress coded, he was dressed like a girl, so.
Really?
I remember that.
Well, it was you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with, like, a friend, and I just
I do.
do what I need to do, and then yeah.
Me too.
So, what's the deal with that? Why do you guys always go with friends?
Well, like we were talking about earlier, if you need your friend if you're on your period and you don't have any tampons because they don't provide tampons or pads in the bathroom for girls.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of, do you guys in the room think that it's awkward when girls start to talk about their periods and symptoms of their periods?
No comment.
Well, I mean, I think it's just as awkward as if we talked about, like, masturbating in front of you. Like, that's, like...
Well, girls
it's a
can
little different.
masturbate. I don't think it's
no,
the
that's
same
not
thing.
what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like...
Do you do that?
Yeah, like, I don't... Okay.
No, but, like, I don't mention talking about it.
It's awkward for me to talk about, like, anything in that, like, entire realm. Like, I don't even like talking about that with, like, my friends or, like, my doctor. So, no, like that's private. So I don't want to, like, if I was a female, I wouldn't, like, share that. So I just don't, like, want people to share it with me. But, I mean, if I hear it, I'm not going to be offended or, like, get mad or anything. Like, yeah. Like, I mean, I get it. It happens. And if people want to talk about it, that's what they do. But I don't like talking about that stuff with boys or girls.
If I'm calling for a friend or something and I'll, like... sometimes I find myself in the guys... We have to
In the
restart.
guy's bathroom?
Have you ever been into a guy's bathroom and seen that they're way nicer than all of the girls' bathrooms? Okay,
In
well...
in what way are they nicer?
Like...
Just curious, because I've never been into
like, for one...
In the girls' bathroom right here,
I'm
it's
fine.
terrible.
Yeah.
The
Are there
guys-
locks? Are there locks on your doors?
No.
In the
well,
boys'
they're locked,
bathroom?
but they don't lock.
Same with ours.
Okay.
Well, actually, I remember going to the same music hall bathroom. And
Yeah.
The whole stall door. Like, the whole, like, it was just placed right on the front of the,
Yeah.
like, the bathroom corridor. It's like, what? Like, how am I supposed
And even,
to?
like, usually the doors that do lock, the toilets are clogged. So
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's no toilet
they're
paper.
all...
Oh, you ever have no
Oh,
toilet
talk
paper?
about the toilet.
Not
the
usually.
Toilet paper in the C200
Yeah.
bathroom.
Seriously, I go in there.
Or the
and he's not in
C300.
there ever.
Okay, so a lot of the times there are either no paper towels or no toilet paper. Has anybody experienced anything like that when they're using the bathroom?
I have in the bathroom on the girls' bathroom on the C300 hallway. A lot of the time there isn't toilet paper. And the other day there was a sign up that said there wouldn't be toilet paper there all day.
No.
And yeah, there's a sign that said,
It's still up there.
yeah. And so, I mean, girls kind of need that when they go to the bathroom.
You guys, like, in the boys' bathroom, you ever
I've
have?
never not had toilet paper in a bathroom, but, like, there are paper towels for the first time, like, I don't know, several months.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I love those.
Yeah.
towels. Because, like, no, seriously. like,
No,
seriously,
yeah, yeah.
So you have a spill, or, like...
And
like,
toilet
in
paper
class.
doesn't do the job.
No, like in class. and you
Yeah,
gotta-
like if you spill your
you
water, like spill
bottle.
water or coffee or something.
Like, which happens quite often.
More than you
Anyways.
think.
Yeah, more than you think. It's crazy. It's, yeah, how about you, Eric? You ever experienced not having toilet paper?
I
in the
mean,
restaurant?
not toilet paper, but on the paper towels issue, of course, I've had that issue.
Definitely.
I have a question,
yeah.
not kind of relating to anything, but like, is it different for like when guys go to the bathroom because there aren't stalls? Like,
There are stalls.
No, but, like, wait, like
Like
all
when
of them
you
have
pee.
doors?
Most of them.
You pee in stalls or you pee like urinals?
Well, it depends on the person. I prefer in the stall. I think Flynn here, my good friend Flynn,
Yeah.
prefers the urinals.
Yeah, I'd never use urinals.
You never use
yeah,
urinals?
Just yeah.
Okay, what about you, Ed?
Yeah,
It doesn't matter. Like
Yeah, I'm not a urinal
No,
kind of guy. The bathroom situation is not so swell.
It's not ideal.
It's not ideal, especially with like you guys saying the dispensers. It's like you guys are running out of like tampons and whatnot.
No,
There
they're
are
never
there.
there.
There are never
Yeah,
tampons.
there was
There's like I know that there's a dispenser in the musical theater bathroom next to the auditorium, and there's a dispenser in there, and it says like the tampons are 25 cents or something, and tampons, and there are never any tampons or pads or anything like that in there.
Are there usually in like general women's
Yes.
bathrooms?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you go anywhere, there's usually like in the airport or like
Yeah.
In the airport,
yeah,
they
in the
have
airport
the.
or like
We're at gas
What about,
stations.
like,
or like
restaurants?
hotels and like
Gas stations.
Yeah.
I think some
No.
restaurants
Yeah,
do.
like they'll have them like in like a nice place.
yeah,
Gas
in a nice
stations?
restaurant they'll definitely.
Well,
What
Gas
about that?
stations they probably like
maybe like
accept
Quick
buy
Trip
them.
or Racetrack, because
Yeah,
those are nice gas stations.
Yeah.
But
Oh.
Mm.
So do you guys always carry tampons around with you?
When I think I'm gonna start my period.
In my
Yeah.
backpack, yeah.
Oh, okay. And like, Ogechi, you mentioned that situation where you just had like one time actually go from class to class sometimes.
I mean, like multiple occasions. Yeah. I've had to
Ugh.
do that.
Did you? Any of you guys ever had to do that?
Yeah.
Like changing tampons every class period.
What?
No, like
No,
trying to find a friend that has a tampon or a
Oh.
pad or something.
Well, I know some girls, if they're just in the bathroom and a bunch of other girls are in there, they'll just yell, like, does anybody have a tampon or stuff like that? And then usually girls are really friendly about that. And if they have one, they just give one to a fellow peer or classmate.
Yeah, girls
Man,
supporting
people
girls.
just keep turning off the lights when I'm in the bathroom. No one helps me. Like,
What?
Yeah, because it's like, you know, light switch. Now I'm pooping in the dark. I can't see.
Pooping in the dark.
Yeah.
Politics. Like
Yeah.
I feel like that's definitely a field that should be more equally spread because because politics, like our government's supposed to represent like who we are as Americans. And I'm not saying like government cannot do that unless it's completely divided like how the population is. Like I'm not saying I think we have like 51% women, 49% male. I'm not saying Congress and the Senate and like the White House needs to be exactly divided, 51-49 female to male, but it definitely does need to be more diverse in order to like accurately portray what every group wants. And until that's achieved, I mean, I'm not like if that is achieved, there's still obviously going to be differences because we all have like political differences. But I feel like at least that'd be something that like we could be proud of and say we may not all agree, but we represent each other. I don't necessarily think that like you have to take drastic measures. I think you should let it just like run its course, and eventually we'll get there. I don't think like conflict is the way to solve. But I mean, it certainly could. I don't know.
How do you feel about like the protesting, the women's?
Like the women's march.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't go. I don't really like. Okay, so I don't like supporting those causes because they're controversial. Like I don't really like abortion. I'm never going to get an abortion, so I don't really. Like, I know that's kind of.
You aren't, or if you had a wife or
I'm saying like me. Like I'm not going to take just a hard stance on it because I'm never going to get an abortion. So I don't think that I should be the one determining. I don't really think government in general should determine whether you are or are not allowed to get an abortion. Same with like marriage. Like I don't think that's a government issue. I think marriage is like a person issue. And I think government should stay as far away from abortion, gay marriage, and issues like that. I don't think government should play a role in like social, like really anything. I think they should guarantee like social equality, but that's about it.
What do you think?
I don't have any comment on that.
I mean, you agree?
He's running for Senate. He
Oh,
can't.
wow. All right. So, I mean, I feel like that's a really good note to end on. Any last final comments or opinions or thoughts that you'd like to share before we kind of end this? Anything? All right. So, Anna, can you like take us out?
Well, thank you very much for joining us today. We'll see you next time.
Yay.
Can
Viking.
you hit the square button?
Viking.
That's all we have this time. Thank you for listening, and remember, everyone at Grady is free to join in the discussion. Students, parents, teachers, administrators, etc. We are still new, so if you did enjoy this podcast, sharing it would be awesome and it would be a great help. Check the description for some extra information, the links to the articles, and to JahPhnx's SoundCloud and YouTube channel. And additional links that you might want to check out, including our in contact information, which is the Grady Southerner podcast at gmail.com. We hope you have a wonderful winter break, and we'll be ending this episode with JahPhnx's track Ready. This has been Nafizobi. Goodbye.
Already did it, you ain't even special. Boy, you think about it, I'ma have to test you. Coming in my city, just be ready for that word. I'ma have to get in from the fur to the fur. I'ma pull up when you're ready, just be ready. Pull up.